Welcome to part 2 of my trip to Key West and back. This was early AM on May the 15th, milepost 480, highway 180. Saw some elk beside the highway. Decided to take some pictures. The sun was just barely coming up. Sorry they were hiding behind the tree. This is Luna, New Mexico. I stopped in Luna and took only the 2 pictures. I wish I'd have taken 2 or 3 more because I understand the fire might have gotten to them in June of 2011. I'm not too sure yet. There's the wilderness area in New Mexico. I made that panorama. I had to stop in Cliff to get a picture of Cliff sign. This is a profile of Abraham Lincoln that Mother Nature put out there. A panorama of area entering Big Bend National Park. That panorama of Lincoln was near Marfa, Texas. There's the Rio Grande River in the background. I just stopped by in various places and took pictures of the lay of the land as I drove through Big Bend National Park. Here's a spot where I stopped the car and walked down to the river. There's the river. It's about 6 feet wide at this point. I could have jumped across it if I had had a place to run. I don't know about me running, but you get the general idea. There's a panorama that I made of these next 2 pictures. That's Mexico on the right and the USA on the left. Doggy barking. And way off in the distance you see the river again. I drove down there and took a couple of pictures of some wild horses. Again, the river is 6 or 8 feet wide right there. I don't know how deep it was, but it sure wasn't very wide. And of course I had to run into some highway repair, but that's part of driving. This sign says, "Please purchase to help school kids." So walking sticks cost $6. And these little trinkets cost $3 and $4 a piece. This was a nice location, photogenic. There's a spot where the Rio Grande River seems to disappear. It just flows right into that mountain, and that's the end of it. But actually, there's a little canyon in there about 15 feet wide, I guess. I could have walked down to it, but I chose not to. I should have. This is the parking area, some of the cactus growing around the parking area. This shows some of the trouble the engineers had building this highway through all that rock. I arrived at Roy Bean's Opera House, Town Hall, and Seat of Justice, and took a picture of the original building. That one we just saw was less than 10 years old. This one is the original. I've been in this one before they fenced it all off and you couldn't get to it without paying a fee. These buildings 10 years ago were all standing, as I recall, but they're just letting the place fall apart now. This is Langtree, Texas, and this is what's left of it. Across the street from the post office is the entrance to the memorial. Judge Roy Bean, the hanging judge, the only law west of the Pecos. And down in there, about a half a mile from town, is the Rio Grande River. That's a panorama I made of these next two pictures. I like the panorama. That was the left end of the panorama, and this is the right end of the panorama. Then I turned my camera around and pointed in the other direction, and that's the other side of the scene, river going off in the other direction. Another panorama of the Texas countryside, made out of these two pictures. There he is again, standing there in front of that air conditioner unit, smelling all the good smells that come through. Once in a while he'd smell something that would really get him excited, and he'd run for the window and look, start to figure out what's happening. This is a Cockleboro Trading Company east of Fairfield, Texas. I didn't stop, I stopped long enough to take a picture of the place and kept moving. There's some sheep and longhorn near Elkhart, Texas. Leonard wanted me to stop and see the Penelope County Jail, so I did. I went inside, took a few pictures, took a tour of the place. The place was built to hold people inside, there's no doubt about it. A lot of iron and a lot of steel. This is on the second floor. I don't know how that old building held all that up. Then I got to Shreveport. This is a picture of Leonard's house, my brother's house in Shreveport. There's brother with his flower beds out there out front. He and Madeline really go to work on the flowers. Then Leonard drove me around town, showed me a few things. We went to Louisiana Hayride, the building, the theater anyway. Elvis Presley and James Brown had their big start here. And the cornerstone was laid, I think it was about 1913. And this was Elvis Presley's dressing room. Tried to take a picture inside, but they didn't come out very well. I didn't prepare too well for this picture. I could have done much better had I taken my time. And across the street from the theater is James Brown Studios. And after spending a couple of days there, I took a picture of my brother and Madeline and their little house and headed off down the road. Caught a picture of an accident at Winfield, Louisiana, Highway 84. Some poor guy had lost his load, lost his lumber, lost his logs, I guess. Those are logs. That's a logging truck in Louisiana. And I driving by at about 60 miles an hour, snapped this picture of floodwaters before getting to the French Quarter. Enjoyed the French Quarter. It was really neat. Those of you who have been there will enjoy seeing these pictures, and those of you who haven't been there might enjoy going down there and taking a look. Personally, I like it better now than I would in their busy season. Whatever they have going on down there, I can't think of. Mardi Gras. This is a mime. The kids had a good time with this guy. He would change positions about every 2 minutes, and they thought he was great. I didn't go anywhere else in New Orleans except right here, French Quarter. And I moved on down the road. Drove through a city called Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and took some pictures of houses on stilts. These places, they're really ready for high water. And I was driving by Destin, Florida, and took a picture of that hotel and their beachfront. Continued on down the road to west of Panama City. Took a picture of this beach. I wanted to make a panorama out of these two pictures and never got to it. And I have no idea where this is, but that's Ripley, the SS Ripley. And this is Ripley's Believe It or Not. I guess that must be Ripley's museum or some such thing. And this is a bridge heading out toward Key West. A long, long bridge. Oh, there's Doggy again. Hi, Doggy. Hi, boy. How you doing? Rain barrel on the trip to Key West. That's a great big lobster out in front of a rain barrel. Well detailed. He did a good job building that guy. This is a milepost 78 on the way to Key West. I took a couple of pictures at Marathon Key, Marathon Keys Yacht Club. Water was kind of shallow right along here. And this is a 7-mile bridge. I entered, I entered Key West about noon. I was going to say, off to the right there was 100 feet to the right was ocean, 100 feet to the left was ocean. Got into Key West, took my car to Sears to get this slow leak fixed. It had been leaking for several days, and I thought it was time to fix it. So I wandered around town, took some pictures before getting back in my car and moving on. I enjoyed Key West, a lot of fun. Ten minutes after 4, so I spent a good amount of time in town. That's a nice restaurant back there in the background on that corner. A lot of these buildings have been turned into businesses. That's the southernmost hotel in Key West, Florida. And driving back out, I stopped and took a picture of this is the old original automobile highway. The original way of getting in there was a railroad, but then they built that highway, and this is looking back toward Key West from that point. Now we're on our way out of the Keys back to southern point of Florida and ready to head north.